All right, so I'm going to go ahead and show you real quickly how to make a few changes to a Wix or a WordPress site so that you can easily showcase videos and pictures along with the text that you have. And it's really simple, really fast. I went in and created a couple tabs so that it would be a little easier for you guys to see. So let's go ahead and get started with Wix. This is the main Wix page when you actually make something. This is the page that I made for my portfolio, and I'm going to show that to you real quick. It's actually right here. This is the main page. Let's go ahead and open that up. That's me and my memo of 10, my resume. But more importantly, I have my portfolio here. And my portfolio, I've actually animated a few things on it. You can see when it pops up, blink, blink. And then you have all these little buttons that pop up. These are all my portfolio pieces. And a few of them have video, like this one does, and I'll go ahead and show you this one real quick. So for this one, I actually made another video that kind of showed you how to put a video. This actually isn't the video that plays for it, but you can see how it's set up. I have text on one side right over here. I have my image assets over here, and they serve as my buttons and headers essentially. And then I have this video, and the video is actually really simple to put in. Wix is really great because it's very customizable. That's its biggest benefit. The only downside that Wix has is that it's all Flash based, and it's not really a big deal for people who view it on computers, but if you send this video, or if anyone has this, basically if you send the website to anyone that has like basically any Apple product, like an iPhone, iPad, an iPod, or whatever, what have you, and even on some other mobile like systems, it won't show because you have to have a Flash plugin to view it, instead of being HTML5, which is what WordPress makes all of its stuff out. So WordPress has a lot more compatibility across all platforms. Wix is a little more flashy. It's a little easier to understand. That was actually a really bad pun. Flashbait. Anyways, it's a little easier to understand, and it's a lot easier to get started in working with it, and it's a lot easier to actually make it do what you want to do because you control all these elements on here. So now that I have this in here, I'll show you. This is actually not the video that's supposed to be in here, but I'll go ahead and reload the video on. This is a video that I loaded up before that is actually not supposed to be here. It's my Com 317. It's not a very good project. So, what? Okay. So you have your player here. This player is basically like Wix proprietary stuff, okay? So that's why it looks the way it does, and you can actually edit this as per the Wix site. You can go a little deeper into it if you want and choose the colors and stuff like that. I'm not going to really go into that today. I'll just show you how to get it all up and running. So this is what the page looks like when you're done, okay? This over here is what the page looks like in the editor. Now, this editor is garbage. This is what they give you when you first load it up. This is terrible. Do not use the Express editor. Just use the regular editor. Don't bother with Express. Go away. Okay. And my portfolio piece was number 4. Now, it's going to load up my portfolio piece 4, and so these are all the elements. You can see when I select this video that it has this box. This box can be moved. You see these little yellow orangey icons. That means that this piece is anchored to this background. Basically, because this background moves up and down as I move through pages, the way it animates, when it's anchored to it, that means that all of these pieces will move at the same time. So they'll all move up and down at the same time, so it'll look like one uniform page. And some, you don't have to get that tricky with your pages, but if you want to animate your pages, it looks great. It's really easy to do. I'll go into it a little bit later. So, okay, so yeah, you can see the boundaries of the player are really identifiable right here. You can move it, you can resize it, make it really super tiny. You can make it a lot bigger, so it stretches out. You can select this text. Say I want the text to like kind of come over here. I want this a little smaller so that it kind of wraps around the text. And bada bing, bada boom. Like, there you go. So now it plays like really super tiny, like right here. And it'll still play in this little player. It doesn't matter. Yeah, see? So I don't want that. That's not what I want. Let me move this back to here. And you can actually use the arrow keys to kind of scooch it one step over the next. and I want this resized to here. Now, to actually add something, to add another video, all you have to do is go to add. It adds text, video, clip art, whatever you want. I'm going to add this video. You can actually search for a video you want, or you can enter the URL. Now, entering the URL is probably the easiest thing you're going to want to do. And this could be anything. So let's enter that. And what do we got? This is a URL that I added later. So that's this one. Oh, wait, no, it's the Life and Love video. That's the video that should be here. So what we're going to do now, I can add this other video over here. That's how you added a video, and I can make it in the same dimensions as this. But what if I already like where this is? Well, then I'm just going to get rid of this. Who cares about you? Yep, I don't want this component anymore. And instead of that component, I'm going to put this component. I'm going to manage my video. See, you can go in here and change the style. You can change the colors, the settings. You can make it have an animation. You can also add it. When you have anything selected in Wix, it has like a little context-sensitive menu. So whatever element that you choose, this affects that element. So right now, the element that I've chosen is the video. So this controls all of the elements and settings and colors and everything else. And that manages it. That's actually the screen that we just pulled up. So this is the video, and I don't want that video because it has nothing to do with Life and Love. I want the one that has something to do with Life and Love. There you go. You just change the URL. So if you ever make a mistake, or you want a placeholder like I did, and yeah, this will play the Life and Love video that I have on here. And you can, of course, as you can see, view it while you're doing it. Now I'm going to go ahead and save this because this is how it should look. So let me go and pause that. I'm going to save it. And you can always check your progress with Wix or even WordPress. WordPress has the same kind of preview option just by saving it, or WordPress actually has a publish preview. This does too, actually. You can preview it right there and always make sure your changes actually come out right. But just to show you, because this is how it actually should look, more or less, there's an element over here that's actually not correct, but I'll go ahead and fix that later. We're going to go back over here and we're going to reload this. This is the same page we were on before. Let's make sure our changes worked. It's going to go ahead and load up, and it's going to bring up the menu, and yep, there it is. So yep. Just blows unkind, but I'm not quite as. And you can also put it in high definition. This is playing in a low definition. Can't tell I'm this small of a frame though, so it doesn't really matter too much. But anyways, that's the point, is that you can really easily and flexibly change this stuff. Now, how do you do this on a new page? Well, you're going to want to go to Wix. You're going to want to hit Create, this button here. And when you hit Create, you're going to get a bunch of templates. And they're actually just rolling out HTML5. I'm not going to show you guys how to mess with that because I haven't messed around with Wix's editor for that page yet. And WordPress may or may not do a better job, I'm not sure. But I went ahead and chose a blank template. These are all like regular templates you can choose. Most of these aren't really geared towards news websites. Most of them are geared towards selling you something, whether it's a person or a product. To be totally honest, like they're all portfolio websites and stuff like that, or e-stores, all that jazz. So I'm going to pick a blank template, and the one that looks newsiest and easiest for me to understand is this one probably, the top navigation one. So I went ahead and picked that. This is what this looks like in a little preview, and here you go. You got your name right here. You can always double click that to edit thing, and then you've got all your pages. So your home page is this page, page 0, and then you have pages 2, 3, 4, 5. This could be your different stories. This could be contact information. This could be like a bio about me. Your different pages, a contact information, all that stuff. That can all fit in there. So let's go ahead and edit this. This brings up the WordPress editor. It's going to load in. I apologize. I probably should have loaded this beforehand. Okay. I don't understand why this little guy looks like a starfish. I don't know what their logo is about. Okay, anyways. So here is the thing. This is the main pages. You can always select your options like that. So this has a little animation to it. You already saw when I went to different pages. See this little thing shrink up and go down? Guarantee that's an animation already installed. And you can change that with animations or behaviors. Behaviors or when you mouse over things on here. And animations are like your transitions, if that makes sense. So I want to add text. Let's go ahead and add a paragraph. So we're going to do simple text. And this is text without a scroll bar. Now, if you have a long story, it's probably better in Wix's format to have a scroll bar text box right out the get-go. And you want to, if it's a new story, you're going to want to keep things pretty easy, pretty simple. So you're not going to want something super fancy. You're probably going to want something more like simple or broken line. Those are my two top favorites. So notice how you have these orange or these yellow squares. That means that this is going to be part of this page. So we're going to resize it. So this is where your story will go. Okay. So we'll put our story here. Now, we're going to want a video to go with that. So let's go ahead and find a video first. That's probably the easiest way to do things. Now, when you upload a video to YouTube, okay, an unlisted video is a little different than a private video. And I went ahead and put YouTube up here. These are all my videos that I play. Some of these I've used as placeholders in the past. Some not. So let's see. We're going to want postmortem. That was a project that I did for advanced recording. So let's go ahead and pick that. Now, when you upload something, let me show you the box for this, just so you get an idea. You're going to want to have, like, if you go to Final Cut and you put your stuff together in Final Cut or whatever, you export it as an MOV file. I'm assuming that everyone knows how to do that. And once you have that MOV file, you can select it from your computer and let's see, there's a ton of stuff like reel. This is my reel. It's pretty big, so they'll probably take a little while. Usually it's going to be like a gig. So yeah, look, 92 minutes. It's a long time. I actually have this uploaded already. I'm not going to sit here and wait for it. But the important thing that you should notice is that there's public, unlisted, and private. Now, the thing that I should caution you beforehand, you can always put it as private, but I don't know how private videos are affected by external players. I don't know if there's going to be some kind of issue. I know that, you know, some external players, you can click on the video on a different website that has like the little player box, and it will say embedded disabled by request. I don't know if that's default on private or something like that. It's probably something different. Just to be safe, I always choose unlisted. Unlisted means that anyone with the link can actually view your stuff. Public means anyone can search for it. Unlisted is usually safe enough for me, especially when I don't want something that's out there. If I do something professionally, I don't want it out there so people can rip it off and not give me credit, because that always stinks, and people will do that stuff. You just got to make sure that you protect your story, essentially, since this is a journalism class. So you go ahead and it'll give you the link right there. That's the link, the only link that people can view it for. And this is also the link that you're going to embed your video with. And then you change the name, description, tags. I'm sure you guys all know how to use YouTube. And that's it. I'm going to hit cancel because this video is actually already on here. And then I'm going to go to my video manager right here. Close that because that's pointless. And then I'm going to go to postmortem. And this one's public, but what I'm going to do is take the link from the address bar, which is an pretty easy way to do it. Go ahead and copy it. See, that's playing. I am going to take it over to my editor. This is where the editor is. We're going to go ahead and put it in as a video. We have the URL, so we don't have to search for any of this crap. And this is the link. And it's really as easy as that. So this creates a little asset right here that's already connected to my mouse. This now is connected to this page because you can see I dropped it in these little box squares. So every time the page loads, this will load too. And say you wanted the video to be huge. You want a big video here. I think you can actually, yeah, you can stretch it out. Even though it usually keeps the same video aspect ratio, you can always make it bigger. So you want this big old video here. And you want it wherever you want it, like right in the middle of the page. I wouldn't do that. I don't think it looks that good. But this is your Wix page. Who am I to tell you what to do? Okay, and you want to move this text box down to the bottom. So I'm not doing a super good job explaining this to you guys, but put this down here. We will resize this a little bit. Move this over. And when you resize with the corner, it doesn't stretch things out. It just kind of keeps the same shape. And if you have like a long story that accompanies this, by the way, to break this little lesson again, I would never ever do this. If this is like a small description, it would work. But if you force someone to read like 5 paragraphs in this tiny box that's you're gonna have to a little scroll bar with, that's just gonna make people mad. So that's it. We just made a page. You just put a video in with the page, and you can even, you know, resize this if you want, and say you want like a still of the thing that goes along with the story. So let's go ahead and add an image. These are the images that I added from my website, and a lot of them are actually stills from my other stories. So let's go ahead and pick Amber. Say Amber doesn't actually show up in here, but we'll go ahead and pick her. Let's see, in Amber, there she is. So that's Amber. This resizes it and keeps the same aspect ratio because it's on the corner. So it's always going to look the same, but if you want to stretch Amber out, you can resize on the bottom. And notice how Wix does not like to change that. You can actually move it a little bit like that. Okay, so there she is. And move that out so it looks a little better, and bam, you've got a picture here. And this actually has a, notice how it has like this little weird shadow on it? That's because the default thing has a frame automatically. You can actually change the frame so it doesn't have a frame at all. And then it's just a picture sitting there. That's it. And this will play, and then this is on your home page. Your home page should usually just be your introduction. Like, this is what I did this year. Page 2, 3, 4, those should have your stories, but you know, however you want to do those, if you have different stories, have to go like that. Like I said before, these can be like about me, contact, whatever. So that's it. So that's I mean, this doesn't look like a professional like page, but I can actually, you know, move these images around, change this stuff, put my name up here, actually make a little logo up here to go up here. And with a little bit of work, not even too much work, it will look like a semi-professional news web page. But like I said before, the trick is that it only plays in Flash. So let's see, not to be too long-winded, I'll go ahead and show you a page I did in WordPress for another class that I didn't really put a whole lot of time into because I actually ended up dropping it. So this is about the phone hacking scandal. This is actually the front page of it. I only made one post. These images are from URLs, and I'm going to show you real quickly like what the editor looks like and how to add different assets. WordPress does things a little differently. This is the dashboard for that page, and we're going to go into posts because that's where it's kind of the bread and butter of your blog. Let's look at all posts. Now the thing about WordPress is that it's actually a little harder to, it's not as flexible in choosing what you do with it. Like in Wix, you can choose where all the assets go, you can change how they look on the page, you can drag and drop them anywhere you go. WordPress doesn't really give you that kind of flexibility. You can kind of trick it by going to templates. If you know CSS code, you can go into the back end and format everything so that everything is kind of uniform and laid out the way you want it to. But for the casual user, it's super easy to make a blog. It's actually even easy to make it look professional. If you wanted that main page to have like rotating like a slideshow of images, all that stuff, it's totally up to you. But for this, I made it pretty simple. Let's see. And say I want, at the end of this, I don't like this, but I'm going to go ahead and put an image. Well, if I want to put an image or video, I click on this little camera slash song note, and that brings up all the media. Now, for WordPress, usually it wants you to drag and drop files, and then it'll add it to your media library, which is hosted on WordPress's website, and then you can choose from the stuff that you've added, right? So if you want to do it by URL, you are able to do that like this. Let's do the same video, and we'll say not related to Murdoch. This is not at all. And we're just going to go ahead and insert into post. Now, when you do that, it inserts this little, like, it looks like HTML code. It sort of is HTML code. It's really weird how it does that. In the HTML code, it even shows up as HTML code, and when it does that, it just inserts the video and it automatically sizes it to the frame size, like the frame, or the size of the post, the width of the post, I should say. So let's preview it. Close that, because that's not relevant anymore. And here's our page, and let's go ahead and scroll down. Now this is like a file that came with this template. All this stuff that you see, all the graphical doodads and everything, that's just a template. This is all the blog roll and stuff like that. That's why it's a little easier to make a news page based on a WordPress template. And there you go, shazam! You've got your video file in a WordPress player that's automatically scaled to the width of the post. Notice how, see where the text ends, see where the video ends. It does that automatically, and I'll actually show you how to do it a little differently if you want. You can go to Postmortem, and you can say, oh, I want to share this. And that's the share icon, but what if you want to embed it? See, now this lets you choose height and width of that, and allows you to mess around with the frame border. The frame border 0 means that it doesn't have this little player automatically. Like when you mouse over it, it'll show up at the bottom. So yeah, let's go ahead and do that. And you can actually choose different ones. Like, see, this is 530. Say you want 640 by 360. Oh, look, it changed it right there. Let's go crazy. Let's go 853 by 480. No, it's too crazy. Let's go to 540. Okay, so this is probably going to be roughly the same size as what we already posted. But I'm going to go ahead and copy this highlighted stuff. That's just web code that YouTube creates automatically for you. I'm going to go into this edited post. I'm going to delete what WordPress inserted in here, and instead of that, I'm going to go to the HTML part of the page. I'm going to go right here where this gibberish code is for no reason. I'm going to insert the little frame edited whatchamahazit. You can actually change the frame border to a different size. 0 just means, like I said, it's not going to show up on the bottom until you mouse over it. And I am going to preview it without saving it. So it's going to reload here. And let's see what happens. It's reloading, and it's the same size, just like I said before. Now, to give you guys an idea of what it looks like a little smaller, let's just choose a small one and copy, go into here, and go ahead and paste that, preview it, oops, preview the changes. See how big it is there? Now it's smaller. See? Doesn't fit to the size. So you can actually make this smaller if you want. And that's just with the HTML coding. And notice how before it had like the little bar under here. That's when the frame is 0. So notice it has the bar that comes up. It's going to go down since I'm not on it, and I'll have this little tiny thing do it on its own. It's going to go ahead and put a frame on there, so you always have that play and pause and all your little YouTube options. So that's pretty much it. To insert images in WordPress, it's the same rigmarole. It's the same deal. So you go into the visual editor, and see, this makes a little widget that tells you like where the thing is right now. I'm not going to mess around with it too much. This is a little more like clunky, like I said. Like this image is actually centered. You can go into your image editing stuff. You can actually sort of move it around too, but to insert another image, I did all these images from URLs, but let's see if there's anything actually in the media library. Nope, just my picture smiling at you. It's kind of creepy. Um, that's it. I mean, that's all you do. So if you want to, if you have like images that you've taken or stills that you've taken from your stories that are on your hard drive, you're going to want to drop them right here. It'll load them into your media library, and then you can choose from here what images you want to pick, how big you want them to be, where they are on the page. Like no alignment just throws them in the page. Left alignment means the text wraps around from the it's aligned to the left and the text wraps around it. Center alignment means that it's centered and the text wraps on either side. Right, I mean, you get the idea. And then you can also choose how big you want it to be. Do you want it to be a tiny little thumbnail? Do you want it to be large? This picture isn't large to begin with. Do you want it to be full size, which is a little larger than medium in this case? And that's pretty much it. And then you just insert it into post right there. And that's actually how you get it into the post. That's actually a confusing part of this whole process. You have to go ahead and choose all the options on your picture while you're here, and then you insert a post, and then it's done. You don't hit save changes, you hit insert a post, and that puts it into your post. That's it. So that's that in a nutshell. I hope that kind of solved any questions you have. Like I said before, Wix is super easy to use. It's probably a little easier to make a pretty basic looking templated WordPress page to serve as a news page, but if you put a little time into Wix, it'll look really impressive. And I haven't had a chance to mess around with the HTML5 editor, but the HTML5 editor is really interesting because it'll allow you to have a lot of more options and kind of have a cross-platform. So this has been almost 30 minutes of me talking. I hope you guys learned a lot. Ask Robbie if you have any questions. She'll probably get with me later or have another instructor come in and help you out. It's pretty simple. There's a lot of other YouTube videos on the web that you can take a look at that'll kind of walk you through the process. That's it. Thanks for listening, and I hope you guys have a lot of success.